Well, what I discovered was the most extraordinary few words that she said that was like a bombshell to me. And that was that she and Harry were having a professional separation.
Angela Levin, you have new information about what went on when Meghan Markle was with these Afghan women. What have you discovered?
Well, what I discovered was the most extraordinary few words that she said that was like a bombshell to me. And that was that she and Harry were having a professional separation. I have no idea what that means, actually. I don't know what an amateur separation is. And what's the game there? Who wants to win? Do you want to leave your partner before they leave you? Do you want them to apologize before anything? I mean, it was just extraordinary professional separation. Have you ever heard of a professional separation?
No, and it's the use of that word, separation, isn't it? Because, Angela, you only have to look through royal history to know how significant that word is. Diana and Charles, the moment the separation word was used, even though they insisted that they were never going to be divorced, it was the beginning of the end.
Yes. Well, it made me sort of think, well, what about the children? Because how is that going to work? If anybody lives in a miles and miles away, it's very, very difficult. I know people always sort of write to me now, say, well, they don't have children, you should know by now. But I think you actually have to include little people in this. And it's also the most terrible thing to say to people she had only known twice, and that was about 10 minutes, 10 minutes each. So how she can't actually say that is absolutely astonishing. And actually, because Harry hasn't come back for over 2 months now, she's been out, understandably, to do the things she wants while he's away. So they are floating with nothing at all. Um,
Is it possible, Angela, that she does just mean professionally, just this twin track approach with their work?
yeah, but I mean, if you like your husband, before they were, as I've said, salt and pepper, you just want to be with them all the time. You hold hands all the time. They give you security
And
all
they
the time.
worked on the desk next to each other in the
They're
office,
next to
remember?
each other, yes. How can you bear to be that so many days apart? I don't understand that. It makes sense if it's really important for business, or you've got something, that is very serious. But actually, it's obviously not. The things that Harry has chosen are things he's chosen. They're not things he had to do. And ditto Meghan. So I don't think it can actually be anything, that's just come about. This is a deliberate thing that he doesn't want to come back, and I think that because he hasn't come back at all, that it's making a statement, a silent statement. There we are.
Yeah,
How's that?
there's a lot of silent statements going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And also, Angela, a lot of groundwork being prepared to try and make us in some way accept a return to the royal family of Prince Harry. So, Richard Eden, the diary editor of the Daily Mail, has reported that palace sources have made clear to him that Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and her husband Prince Edward could point the way, he says, for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to return to royal duty. So this is Richard Eden's reporting. He says courtiers are increasingly convinced that Harry wants to resume his old way of life when he felt he was using his privileged position for making a worthwhile cause. And a source says Harry's heart is not in the TV stuff. Anyone can see that. One courtier told Richard Eden if the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are prepared to give up their private work and return to royal life, they would be welcomed back, certainly as long as King Charles is monarch. What do you make of that?
Well, I like Richard very much. I've known him a very long time, but I don't understand what on earth he's saying. It doesn't make any sense to me. The only thing I can understand, and I'll say this at the first thing, is that sometimes when the Mail has a big problem, that's the newspaper he works for, they say to journalists, take it easy, go down, be careful. And what we have coming up is yet another court case against the Mail that's going to cost £40 million, something ridiculous like that. And they don't want any trouble. I mean, they did this with Meghan's father over the letter that they used.
Yes.
And that was a bit of a problem, but the word was going around that is be nice, be careful. I was told that several times. I'm not very good at sort of making something very soggy if it's not. And I think that's my only thing that I could think of. So I did a bit of research and I thought, well, how can they compare themselves with Edward and Sophie? So I
Mm.
looked. They met Sophie in 1993, right? They married in 1999, and the royal knockout, which was absolutely awful and made a shame of the whole royal family, was in 1987. So sensible Sophie wouldn't have been there, and they would be very young and inexperienced. Also, Sophie was tripped up by a News of the World person
Yes.
because she
Maz
started in
Mahmood, the fake sheikh.
2001. And she was asked about all sorts of roles and she chatted away innocently. And that was terrible. The Queen was furious and she gave up her job as a PR. Now, they've done nothing wrong since. They've been terrific. They're there now all the time looking after what's going on. Sophie was very close to the Queen. And the Queen's not taken in by someone who's sort of smarmy or difficult. You know, she would go to church with her, she would make her laugh. So you can't compare Meghan and Harry to them because they have been vile. They've been so ghastly to the royal family. They attack all of them. And Meghan doesn't want to come to England at all. I don't want to put my foot there, she says. And Harry wants to go. We don't know why. I think it's all aside to it. I think that he wants to get something which he can sell. That's, details about the health of both the king and his sister-in-law, Catherine. And I think he would take full advantage of that. And I don't think that the king, who is still having his cancer treatment, would accept him to come along because the whole point is that he's calm, everything's calm. And the Queen has made sure that that continues, that there isn't something that might hurt him because he's vulnerable. He's working hard, he's doing a lot, but you don't want someone who's going to come in and say, I demand, and you've got to still apologize to Meghan, you've got to give me money. We haven't had worked out a settlement. You know, Meghan wants a big house. Nobody really wants Meghan at all, and how can you trust someone so untrustworthy?
Mm.
So William would be furious too. He wants nothing to do with Harry, certainly not while his wife is ill. So what this nonsense is all about, I have no idea. It doesn't make sense on any level, either work-wise or personality-wise or willingness-wise. I don't understand it. So that's my only answer to what it is. And it made me very annoyed.
When you don't want to
As
make
you
Andrew
know.
annoyed. Do you know the thing that I think was most intellectually dishonest, Angela, about the comparison of Meghan and Harry to Sophie and Edward? Sure, Sophie and Edward made a couple of mistakes, as you say, that the fake shake incident, the royal knockout, and also do you remember when Edward sent his film crew when he had his independent production company to Egypt?
1987, for goodness
Exactly,
sake.
exactly. And the other thing is, Angela, though, they were mistakes. They were not on purpose. They didn't go out of their way to publicly
Yes.
slam and attack and undermine and actually take legal action against the royal family. It's just a complete
Yes.
nonsense comparison.
Yes, look at the legal stuff that's happening so not until 2026, but it is against the king.
Yeah.
It's his courts and it is against him. And so they're attacking him. How many times is this going to be? The third, the fourth? I don't
Hmm.
know, I've lost count. But how dare he do that and then still think that the king is going to welcome him? I mean, he would be soft. A husband, a father, it's very, very difficult to just throw out your son. You may love him, but you may hate what he's doing and who he's with. And so you've got to be very careful about that. But to write it in his book, to talk about it whenever he can, to be hard done by, and also the whole thing about the money when they left 2020, the king, then prince, gave them 6 million, but he said, my father cut off all my money straight away. Well, for you and I, 6 million is absolutely amazing. For someone like him, it's probably not so amazing, but it was still a very good goodbye help. So he's attacked everything. Nothing is right. He's never had privilege, even those sausages. William had 5 and he had 4, and that proves that they don't care about him. I
But
mean,
William's
what?
thriving. I mean, look at William this week, Angela. Heartthrob Prince is back. He's happy. He's confident. He's a family man. Actually, doesn't it prove that sometimes bitterness and evilness just eats away at you because Harry looks so miserable now?
Yeah. Well, he didn't look so miserable when he was away those
Without
weeks
Meghan. Yes,
without
in
Meghan.
Canada. He looked pretty happy in Canada, actually,
But I
didn't he?
think those are sort of happy things because he was free for a minute. But actually, when you come home and you go to sleep, you don't feel the same happiness. It's very unhappy because if they are going to split up, then he's made a terrible mistake and he knows he will look like an idiot and he doesn't want that. He's trying to get away from that. But more for him, really. But I think that this sort of piece of writing that Richard did is unacceptable and unbelievable, really.
And
Sorry,
you're
Richard.
and Angela, you're hearing the Portugal move or the Portugal house that's definitely not happening now?
Well, no, it's not definitely not happening, but it's definitely not ready. So
Okay.
it's taking much longer than they thought. And it's not going to be where they live by any means. It's going to be the start of a property business that they're going to do. They're going to get lots of nice places and rent them off. And I think they might wanted to have been to Portugal earlier than that, just to have a little holiday there. I mean, they've got the sea and the sand near where they live. So I think it is another reason, but that doesn't make sense that you're doing a professional separation, because if you're doing that, why on earth are you building a business out of homes? So it's like usual with them. You never know what they're up to because everything changes all the time. You can hear things one day and then it's a completely different the next. So, but I think that's how it's going to be. They're just going to, it's something to get them in the headlines, you see. Just say that and everyone thinks, oh no, where are they going to go now? They don't want to do anything without having attention.
I know. Very, very good point. Well, look, stand by, Angela, because I want to ask you a lot more actually about the latest details in this really horrifying court case where Prince Harry is now involving Doreen Lawrence. Now, she's the mother of Stephen Lawrence, who was a boy who was killed, and it was a crime that shocked the UK. But you have a lot of personal experience with this, and I know you're
Yes.
very horrified. So, Angela, back in just 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. But our one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance, and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. It's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view, Lake told reporters. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. If this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, I'll be thrilled knowing I helped, Dr. Lake commented. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then, it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. So one viewer commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out much more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/outspoken, or you can just click on the link in the description box below or the show notes below this video. So let me repeat the address, bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So, go watch the video at www.bhmd1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. So, Angela Levin, this court case between Prince Harry and the Daily Mail has taken a really shock twist because he has involved Stephen Lawrence's mother, I believe, via a text message. You were very involved in the Lawrence case, and you're obviously also Prince Harry's biographer. So you know all of the personalities involved here. What happened?
Well, it's just let's just say that Stephen was stabbed to death in a racist attack in Eltham in 1993. Two men were convicted of his murder in 2012 after a campaign by the Mail to bring the killers to justice. Now, what happened with this is that Prince Harry suggested that Stephen's mother, who is now in the House of Lords, should join him in a battle against the Mail. And as I said, the phone hacking claim against the paper could reach an estimated £40 million if it goes to trial. I was working on the Mail then, and it was my job to try and get to talk to Doris Lawrence and to calm her down, and to then eventually write a piece about her if she was ready, and ditto her husband. But they fell out with each other because I think they couldn't cope with the tragedy, and he went off and they were separated. Now, it took me a very long time, but I knew that the Mail was the only newspaper to do anything about this. No other newspaper was trying to help out, so which was absolutely extraordinary and shows how different things were then. And also, the police said they couldn't manage to do anything. So the Mail set out to try and find out and help them, and to try to get people who seemed to be the people who had killed Lawrence. And so I met Mrs. Lawrence several times, and she was quite obviously in a terrible state. I mean, uh, I'm used to doing a lot of these sort of interviews, but it's very difficult when somebody is absolutely at their bitter end. That the son she adored and thought was very clever and had aims for him to be an architect, that she would actually even talk to me. But she did. We had a very, very long interview, and I even showed it to her, which you don't often. And I wanted to make sure that she felt my passion for her loss as well. And we got on okay. Her husband was very easy. He was a very gentle man and also completely wiped out, terrible. But to then come up and say that you want to say that, what is it, that's journalists, have invaded her privacy. Now, the other newspapers only did anything well after the Mail had got the people that they thought had murdered Lawrence on the front cover. This was very, very difficult. And the lawyer of the Mail was absolutely watching everything, testing everything. You have to be very careful because you can be wiped out if you say the wrong thing. It was extremely brave. And the editor was marvelous with them. They had lots of money from the Mail and they had a lot of attention, and it was something very, very important. And I think that Lawrence's father did some work for the editor, business, sort of painting or something like that. And he had a very strong feeling that, he had to help this man. And so to actually attack the
I know.
newspaper.
But the thing is, Angela, to me, this shows you that Harry will not stop at any length when he wants to undermine his media enemies. I've seen what he tried to do to me. Because the thing is, this text message that he said to Doreen Lawrence apparently said that he had information that she would want to know about. So he has effectively destroyed a relationship between Doreen Lawrence and the Daily Mail, which, as you say, goes back years and years and years. And let's just be honest about it. If Paul Dacre hadn't have run that front page image of Stephen Lawrence's killers, no other media organization would have been brave enough to do it. So I can
Yeah,
say that
let
I'm
me just
disappointed in Doreen Lawrence, but it's worse what Harry has done.
Yes, it's absolutely worse because he's manipulating her,
Yes.
I think, and putting into her words something that is not true. She did go off the Mail before actually Harry sent this message, but that's because she turned against a lot of white people. She didn't really like that. She became much more interested in black only, which is entirely up to her. And I think that she didn't fall out, but I think she was just very unhappy and didn't want to know anything. But I think that Harry should work on that. And I think he did it with his lawyer's agreement to pull her in, which would make it easier for him to fight with someone else than actually just to fight against the paper on his own. And I think that's despicable,
Yeah, shame on
really.
him.
Someone
Shame
who
on
has,
him. But Angela, something lovely. Prince William and young Louis. And we
yeah,
learned this week that Louis has taken up a hobby that William may not be entirely happy with, although he's a good dad, so he doesn't really mind. What do we know?
yes, well, Prince William had gone to Tusk Conservation Awards this week, and that's a charity that covers wildlife conservation and local communities across Africa. And at one point, he just said to somebody that, Louis, who is very mischievous, he said, "My youngest is learning how to play the drums. That's why I now spend my entire life with my fingers in my ears." And when you think of Louis and how lively and energetic he is, you can understand that, the banging gets rid of some of it. And I think it was a really lovely a little story to say, and he adores him. They all adore him. Well, he adores all his children, and it was very, very sweet.
Very sweet. Very, very lovely. Oh, William, what a good dad he is, and look at those lovely pictures. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.